Good morning, all. Mary Bulger here, naturalist with Iowa County Conservation, and I want to welcome you to our Critters Live this morning. We are going to be talking a little bit about the red fox today, and as always, if you have any questions as we're going along or comments, go ahead and put those in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them for you as we go along. The red fox is a pretty common animal that we have here in Iowa, and it is, of course, a mammal, so its body is covered with fur. That's kind of one of the characteristics we know mammals as, and they have a really characteristic color of fur. They have an orangish red that covers most of their body. We'll take a look at a fur here in a moment to kind of talk about those key characteristics. And their underside, their chin, their belly is white, and then black tips on their feet and their ears. So very characteristic colorations of their fur. If we take a close look at this picture here, they have some characteristics about their faces that they use that are very common, but they also use them when hunting. Taking a look here at their kind of pronounced snout or nose. They have a really good sense of smell in which they use when they're hunting. They have a very good sense of vision. They have those big eyes, and they have a really good sense of hearing, those big ears. All of those senses combined help them when they are hunting, trying to find food. Another thing that we can kind of see close up on this picture is they have really big whiskers, and when they're kind of sniffing and feeling around, their whiskers actually help them too. They kind of act a little bit like fingers, and a lot of mammals do that as well. So the red fox is very adaptable. They can live in many different habitats. Historically here in Iowa, they would live in prairie habitats, so habitats with lots of grasses and flowers, but as settlement came across Iowa, our habitats changed, and the fox changed its habitat too. They can live on borders and woodlands and towns and cities, so many different places that they can live. So populations, they are very populous in a lot of areas, and throughout the world, they live on almost every continent except for Antarctica. So different kinds of foxes do. And so their average lifespan out in the wild is kind of low, and there are many different reasons for this. So 18 months to 2 years, which isn't for a medium-sized mammal, is kind of low, but there are many different reasons to lead to this. So lack of food, lack of habitat, also extreme weather can play a part in their lifespans, and hunting for the fur trade. Their fur is very kind of highly coveted for the fur trade. So let's take a look at a few items from a fox here. I have with me a fox fur. So again, here is that very distinctive coloration of the fox fur. They have very, very thick fur, so they can be active during the winter time with that warm fur. Taking a look at its head here, we can see those characteristics, those whiskers, that big nose, their big eyes, and their ears are kind of smushed down a little bit here, but they have very large ears. Normally, I'm missing my fox tail here, so we only have a little bit of it, but they have a very large tail. We'll talk about that here in a moment, the significance of that fox tail. It helps them with many different things while they're hunting and warmth and things like that. So their fur is very thick. They kind of have two layers, a very, very thick, warm undercoat, which is a different color here, it's darker, and these longer hairs that help keep their furs clean, which are called guard hairs. So the red fox, but there are other fox we'll talk about here just briefly too. So here I have a skull replica, and so it's not a real skull. It is a plastic skull, so it's made of plastic, but it's the same exact size and shape of a real fox skull. So taking a look, it's very long. They have a very pronounced snout, right? They have very large eye openings so they can have good vision. They have a long pronounced snout, and that helps them have a longer nasal cavity and helps them to be able to smell things when they're hunting also. And then taking a look, we'll open it up here and take a look at the teeth. So many different teeth here. They have sharp incisors, these teeth in the front, good for tearing things, both plants and meat. They are omnivores. So they hunt and eat both meat, and they'll eat plants as well. And then they have those big sharp canines, good for tearing meat. And then they have some sharp molars, but also some flat molars. And that tells us that it is an omnivore, having both sharp and kind of more flat teeth as well, when they're eating different types of materials, both meat and plants. So remember I said that the gray fox, we'll take a look at the picture, a whole body picture here. I'm sorry, not the gray fox, the red fox. Their tail plays a significant part in their hunting. They have a very long, bushy tail. It's almost as long as their bodies. And taking a look at the rest of the body of the red fox here, they kind of have a long, lean body, longer legs, longer tail, longer body, that long snout we can see here. And that helps them to be able to hunt in a very specific way, we'll talk about here in a moment, and also be very athletic. They have to chase some of their foods. One of their main foods that they catch and eat are rodents, which are very fast and hard to catch. So there are a few other fox that we have here in North America. So the red fox is the most populous fox here, but we do have a few others here in North America. So let's kind of just take a brief picture and kind of look at those animals. So this here is this is a gray fox, and we do have them here in Iowa as well, a little bit smaller than the red fox, but we can tell where it gets its name. It has more grayish coloration on its head and body and tail. They are smaller, and I should have said that all fox, they're a member of the canine family. This fox in particular is the only canine that can climb trees. They have really long claws. They're very small and light, so they can actually climb trees with that. So they'll eat small rodents too. They'll eat birds, and they'll eat insects. They prefer, though, woodland habitat. Another fox that we have the gray fox in Iowa here. Another fox that we have in North America is the Arctic fox. That's the fox that's all white in coloration during most of the year. And they live up in the tundra where it is very cold, up into Canada. And they will, when it's not winter up there, when there's not as much snow, they'll shed some of that white fluffy fur that keeps them warm and safe, and they'll have a little bit of more gray fur. They will move and migrate and follow the rodent populations because that's their main source of food. They love to catch and eat rodents. And then one more fox that we have in North America is this fox right here. This is called the kit fox, and this fox is even smaller than the gray fox. It's the smallest of all North American foxes. They live in the desert Southwest. They're much smaller, but they have these huge ears, and they primarily use them to listen for their food, listen for movements. They also have very good vision and sense of smell as well. Primary diet, insects and small rodents in the desert. So I have one more fur that I want to share with you. We do have a gray fox fur, and so let's kind of compare sizes. It's a little hard to compare sizes, I guess, when I have my small camera here, but I'll try to hold them up. So I have the red fox here, the gray fox here, and I'll stretch them up. You can see the size difference just in the body circumference and the length here, comparing the red fox and the gray fox, and also that coloration difference, that grayish color on most of grayish brown, black color on most of the gray fox. And let's take a look at these big bushy tails. So I do have the tail on my gray fox here. Smaller than the red fox, but still big and bushy, and a significant part for body part when they are climbing trees for balance. So red fox, they're omnivores. They hunt a lot of different food, but they hunt in a very specific way. If you've ever seen a nature documentary or even seen a fox hunting out in the wild, They are very athletic and they will do something very specific. I have two pictures I want to share with you here. So this is kind of a time-lapse picture. This is a really great picture of a fox hunting in the wintertime. You can see it is listening intently right here on this end, listening for something that is tunneling around underneath the snow. And so what they'll do is they will leap and jump up to 5 or 6 feet in the air, and they will land from the spot that they jumped up up to 5 meters away, and they will pounce or put their snout, their head down into the snow and catch whatever is underneath there. Most of the time, it's small rodents during the winter. But they will also use this behavior during the spring, taking a look at, or the warmer times of months when we don't have those, the snow cover. And so they do the same behavior. They'll creep up on something because they hear or smell or see something, and they will leap and pounce and land on it. And this, again, having that long tail, that long body, and those long limbs, and being a very kind of slim animal, helps them to maintain balance and be very athletic when they are hunting. So they'll do that when they're catching and hunting animals. But again, omnivores, so that's not the only thing that the red fox will catch and eat. Taking a look at my chart here of the picture, what does a fox eat, or a red fox eat? Those animals, when they're hunting, primarily, they like things like rodents, small and easy, or not necessarily easy, but smaller animals, so rabbits and squirrels, and mice, small rodents, voles and shrews and things like that. But they'll also catch and eat fish and birds as well. And those are the animals that they catch and eat, but they will also eat things like berries, like strawberries, cherries that they can find, acorns, grasses, and mushrooms. So they have a very varied diet, eating many, many different things. They'll take advantage of whatever is around them. And of course, they have young. They are mammals, so they give live birth to their young. And they will have what's called a den or a burrow underground. We can kind of see in this picture a mama fox, which we call a vixen. They have a special name, and she will dig out a burrow and give birth to her pups. Average size litter for a fox is about 5 pups. And when they're very young, she will feed them with milk, and they will stay in the den, and she will protect them, go out and find food, and then bring that, come back and provide milk for the young. But when they're old enough to come out of the den like this, they will venture out, and then they will start to learn how to hunt. They'll probably start with foraging for plant materials, and then move up to insects, and then smaller rodents, and then larger prey as they're learning from their mother. And so they are active animals during the winter time here. It is very, very cold, but they have that really thick, warm fur to protect them. Another way that they use their tail, I'm going to back this up so you can kind of see this whole entire picture. They will, when it is very cold, they'll curl up, and they'll protect especially the most exposed part of their body, their nose and their face. They'll curl up and use that tail kind of like a blanket during the winter time. Even when it is very, very cold, they're still able to find food that they need, but they will hunker down if we get lots of snow cover and lots of cold temperatures when it's that time of year. Red fox are also very competitive, and so because they are a very populous animal, they are going to compete with each other for territories and food, and they are all over the world, so they will kind of do that here. They'll get into fights and things like that over things that they need to survive. So I want to thank you very much for joining me today. If you have any questions about the red fox, go ahead and put those in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer those for you. Also, if you have any requests for any future Critters Live, We always want to take those, so put those in the comments, or you can email me at mbulger@co.iowa.ia.us. If you want to catch our past Critters Live, you can go onto our Facebook page. We have them all stored on there. Or if you're a YouTuber, you can go to our YouTube page, Iowa County Conservation, and search for our Virtual Critters Live playlist. They're all on there as well. And then also catch some of our other virtual series, the virtual nature crafts. This time of year, we're doing all kinds of things that you can get outside and do in the cold, in the snow. You can check out all those both on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. Just search our Virtual Crafts Live series on our YouTube page. So thanks very much for joining us today. It is going to be a beautiful week. The temperatures are rising. The snow is melting. It's getting nice and squishy out there. So spring is just around the corner. I encourage you to get outside and experience nature. It is going to be beautiful this week. Thanks very much for joining me. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.